Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, make sure you click the link below so you don't miss any future episodes. Right? Today, I'm talking about asking for input. Are you ready? Let's get started. This is the second in a series of videos about reasons we should ask. In the first video, we talked about asking for learning. Today, we're asking for input. And they may seem similar, and because when we ask to learn, we may get input, but here we're talking about input for some different reasons as a leader to get people involved, right? So here, let's start with why we should ask for input. Number one, we'll get better decisions. If we ask our team for input, we'll get information that will give us better decisions. We'll have more information, we'll get a better result. Next, we'll get better implementation. Because when we feel like, as an individual, that we've had something to say about the decision, feel like we were heard in the decision-making process, even if exactly the decision isn't what we thought of or what we suggested exactly, we are more likely to have better understanding of the overall process, so the implementation of the decision will likely go better. And there will be higher commitment to the decision, right? If people have had input, then they're like, man, I was heard. I'm more committed to where we're headed as well. Next, there'll be greater trust. Listen, as a leader, if you ask your team what they think, if you ask your team how they would do it, if you continue to do that and really listen to them, you're going to build trust between the two of you. It's one of the best things that you can do to build trust. Ask people what they think. Ask people for their input. And lastly, when you ask for input, you'll get more engagement. People will feel more committed. They'll feel more engaged. They'll be more in. They'll be ready to raise their hand. They will care more about what's going on around them. And there's so many good reasons why we should ask our team for input. So you might be wondering, how do I do it? So let me give you 3 tips quickly about how, when you ask for it, that you ask for it effectively, okay? Number 1 is ask early. Get people's input as early as you can. Continue a conversation about what people are thinking and what they would do and what they're seeing. Don't get almost to the cusp of the decision and say, am I missing anything? Am I leaving anything out? What do you think? Do that early, right? And ask before your opinion. So if you've got a decision to make, you've got something you're wanting input on, you may have already come to some conclusions. If you ask early, hopefully you haven't come to them yet. But even if you have an opinion or a thought, ask them first. Don't say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Now, I will say that as a leader, I will sometimes do that, but it's very rare, and I'm able to do it on smaller decisions because so much of the rest of the time, people know they've had input far, far earlier. So ask people before you share your opinion. Once you share yours, the amount of input that you will get will go down drastically. And lastly, listen to understand. If you're going to ask, then you need to shut up and really try to listen. And you can have a dialogue about it, but don't be trying to convince the person or have them feel like you're trying to convince them of your opinion, but rather that you really want to understand theirs. Asking for input is an important skill that we can develop as a leader with lots of ways that it helps both us and the decisions that we make. Let me close with today's tweet. When you ask people for their input, you will get better decisions, more commitment to the decision, and greater trust with those you ask. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know if you know that I do this every week, but also every week, we create a newsletter that comes free to your email box that's titled Unleashing Your Remarkable Potential. If you'd like more of your potential unleashed with ideas for you as a leader and a human being, then you should subscribe, and all the information for doing that is right here. It's completely free. I hope you'll do that, and I hope you'll be back next week for another episode of Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast.